Hello you beautiful people and welcome back to Joeboy Racing. In today's video I'm going to be going through my picks for the first day of the York Ebor meeting. It's going to be an absolute cracker, great festival, great week of racing, and I can't wait to give you my bets. I'll also do a quick review from the weekend's tips that I put up. Another great weekend for the channel, nice bit of profit, so let's get stuck into it. So in the first race, the 3 o'clock at Newbury, my tip was Lulu's Gift. 7 furlong handicap. I thought that drop down in class would really suit her, and she duly delivered. Obviously, it was tipped up at 9-1. If you'd have bet on the day, best odds guaranteed, you could have got 12-1 about her. I was a little bit nervous when she broke. She was pulling the jockey's arms out, stretched off into a massive lead, and I thought, oh, something might come and get her. But she was really tough all the way to the line and landed a really nice winner for our first tip of the day. Moving on to our second tip of the Saturday, the 3:35 at Newbury, the Hungerford Stakes. I put up as my selection Marvel Man, advised at 20-1. I did say I thought this one would shorten up, which it did. Ended up going off at 12, so hopefully you guys jumped on for that early value. It's run a blinding race out of all of the bigger priced horses. It ran the best race for sure. It'll probably teach me a lesson. I said I was keeping my powder dry for York in this upcoming week. I don't normally jump off horses when they've won for me, like More Thunder, and I've learnt a valuable lesson. I should have gone in, I should have had an each way saver on Marvel Man and backed More Thunder properly. However, in the grand scheme of things, it's still some each way profit, which you can't complain about. Right, guys, so moving on to York, the first day of the Ebor meeting. Absolutely cracking day's racing. I've actually got selections in all the group races of the day, a couple of which I put up in my anti-post video. So we'll go over those now. In the first race, the 225, the Acomb Stakes, Group 3 for 2-year-olds only, over 7 furlongs. You've got a Godolphin short price favourite at the head of the market, followed by a Ballydoyle second fav, short price again. However, I like the claims here of Goodwood Galaxy. You can get 9-1 about it with 3 places on Bet365 at time of recording, and I just think that's a really solid each way bet to nothing. It ran a cracking race last time out at Goodwood to finish only a couple lengths off Savatieri, who I think personally is the best 2-year-old in the country at the minute. Finished off the race really strongly. It doesn't look like there's bags of pace, for the opening of the race, except from the Fav. And I could see that favouring Goodwood's Galaxy to really finish off strongly and run into the frame. And with 3 places on offer, I just view it as a little bit of an each way bet to nothing at 9-1. There is another one I like in here as well at 16-1, Rochfortbridge. It's only ever run once. However, it beat the secret adversary, who was a 2-13 favourite first time out, who only finished 3/4 of a length behind Italy in its first ever run. Secret adversity only finished a length behind Humidity at Royal Ascot as well. And I just think that's proper solid form. You can get 16-1 about it, 3 places. I'm going to have a small each way saver. Secret Adversity also beat Brussels as well next time out after Ascot as well. But because of that form tie-in with Zavatieri and Brussels, and also Humidity that finished behind Goodwood Galaxy at Goodwood, the main selection is Goodwood Galaxy. However, I will be having a small each way saver on Rochfortbridge as well. Moving to my second tip of the first day of the meeting, moving on to the 3 o'clock, the Great Voltigeur Stakes. Now, this is one that I mentioned in my anti-post video. I obviously put up Amalok before he was withdrawn. I also said to keep an eye out for Carmers to see if he was going to the St Ledger trial at the Curragh on Saturday. He was withdrawn from that the night before the confirmations for the first day come out. You could still get 14-1 about him then. I took that price. I also put a comment on the anti-post video replying to someone saying that transport had been booked DTC. You could still get 10-1 about him at that time. And I definitely think he's the pick of these to take on Lambourne. Now, Lambourne is a dual derby winner. He is an odds-on favourite. He's not to be sniffed at. However, I thought in the Irish Derby, he sort of showed his ceiling a little bit there. Whereas Carmers still progressing, he's unbeaten, and I just think he's got a cracking chance of showing up Lambourne here. You can imagine Lambourne's going to go at a gallop, try and use that stamina to his advantage, and I can see Carmers going neck and neck with him all the way and just toughing it out and getting the job done like he did at Royal Ascot. You can still get 7-1 about Carmers at time of recording. However, there's only 2 places. So obviously a little bit of the value's gone there as to when I mentioned it in the anti-post video and then made the comment on the video. You probably don't want to be backing him each way with 2 places. But for me, out of all the other candidates that are there, I think Carmers is going to push Lambourne to the limit. And hopefully they're not just there for a sort of warm-up run, a tweak, up for the St Ledger coming up next month. Right, moving on to my third tip for the first day of the Ebor meeting, the Juddmonte International. Now, this is an absolutely cracking race. I do have to just mention before we go into the selection, what on earth happened in the market yesterday? It was absolutely crazy. I mean, Whirl all of a sudden shortened up to, I believe, 4-1 or 4.5-1 max. You had Delacroix out at 6-1 in places. Please put down in the comments what you thought happened there. Now, that was absolute market madness, wasn't it? I can't lie to you. When I saw that you could get 6-1 about him, I did chuck a score on win only just in case. Probably wasn't the wisest move. I wasn't really paying attention to the whole market because, as you can see from the background, I'm away at the minute. And yeah, I just thought, why is he this price? It must be a bookie error. And then I looked on Twitter, saw all the chat and thought, oh, I've made a big mistake. He's not going to run and World's going to be running. But obviously confirmations come in this morning. He is running and that's a nice little bet to be sitting on. However, I put up in my anti-post video again, I put up Daryz at 14-1 with 3 places. You know, that was the main reason for these anti-post bets, guys, because I knew the field was going to be cutting up massively and you was only going to end up with 2 places. You can still get 12-1 about Daryz with William Hills at time of recording. However, there's only 2 places available, so it really limits those sort of place returns. I think he'll go well. Whether he's going to improve enough to be able to take on Ombudsman and Delacroix is another issue. However, I can see if the race runs to suit and it's sort of like a sprint finish like it was in the Eclipse, then I can see Daryz showing his best, improving a little bit and at least going close, at least trying to be able to challenge these 2. So obviously my play is Daryz, but that was at 14s with 3 places in the anti-post. So hopefully some of you guys jumped on when he was advised at that price, because I think if the race suits, he could go very close. Just a quick mention, guys, I've not had a bet on it yet, so I'm not saying it's official selection because it's only bets that I bet on myself that I normally put up to you guys. However, Al Muhit is really interesting to me in the Stayers handicap at York. Just a proper solid horse, loves a galloping track, and I can see him going really close. Always runs a big race. I think you can get 4 places, I believe. I think he's around 16-1. So I'm probably going to have an each way tickle on that as well. So that's all of my selections for day 1 at York, guys. Obviously, some of the value has gone in my selections now because I put them up anti-post. Hopefully, all of the subscribers jumped on anti-post when I put them up to get that maximum value and the extra places. And obviously in the Acomb, Goodwood Galaxy is one I fancy. And there's just, I don't know why, I've just got a feeling about this Rochfortbridge. It'll only be his 2nd ever run. However, I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on it. I just think with that form tying in with the secret adversary and other runners in here, he could run a really big race. And I think from his action, he's actually going to prefer this good to firm ground as well. So we'll have to see about that one. As you can see from the background, guys, I'm away at the minute. The Wi-Fi shocking. Everything's not very good. I know I filmed this late. I know the setup's bad, the lighting's bad, but it's probably a good thing for you. You don't have to look at my ugly mug. Obviously, it was a great weekend for the channel. Weekend just gone. Hopefully, we can take that momentum into the Ebor meeting and start off on the first day, get a blinding result with a couple of winners would be nice. Let me know down in the comments if you jumped on any of my anti-post selections, what your fancies are for the first day of the Ebor meeting. Let me know what matchups you're most excited about seeing. And as always, guys, happy punting.